Hello, everybody. Um, it's been quite some time since we last talked, and a lot of things have happened in the world. A lot of things have happened in America. Um, Sending lots of love. First of all, if you are just joining, if you're just watching for the first time, welcome to Secretary of Shade. My name is DDM, and here we talk about politics and pop culture. Um, there's been a lot going on um, in the world. I want to send first my love and my heart to the citizens of California, of Los Angeles. Um, Such a horrible situation, and there's been a lot of talk about that. Um, a lot of blame placed, a lot of questions rightfully being asked, a lot of people just hurting and distraught. And I just want to send my love to those people first. Um, there's been a ceasefire called between Israel and Gaza with hostages being released. Um, and today, here in the United States of America, um, the 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was sworn in and inaugurated along with his vice president, now Vice President J.D. Vance. Um, Tonight is not a meeting about reading a bunch of reports. I think that a lot of news outlets have that pretty much covered. Tonight is about not about rehashing what we could have had, because we can't. We what can we do with what we had? Almost doesn't count, right? Um, Tonight is about moving forward. When I was thinking about the meeting today, and I was at first of all, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is Dr. King's birthday. Um, and that's most important. But that kind of got overshadowed today by America at large. And that's unfortunate. But today is about moving forward. I was at breakfast and lunch today. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know I talk about how stressful this is. Just to give you line of sight of where I've been, it's been a lot for me. My neighbor jumped off the roof of our building and committed suicide, and I saw that horrible incident live and in living color. So that I had to take a step back. Um, I had to take a step back, and it made me reevaluate a lot of things, right? And we're gonna get into the politics, but I gotta let you know because you're like DDM, where you at? And I needed some folks at that time, and a lot of people did reach out to me. But I'm the type of person who I appreciate help, but when I am helpful to people, and they and I'm there for them, I kind of expect for them to be there for me. And I realized that I had to prioritize certain things in my life and certain people in my life, because when it comes down to it, I always say you can count your real friends on one hand and you won't be able to use all your fingers. And I definitely learned that lesson going through that tragedy and witnessing that. Um, but that definitely influenced me stepping away for a while. Um, but we got to talk about where we're at. Um, the funeral is over, folks. The funeral is over, and I was thinking about how long am I going to keep doing this, and I ran into Dr. Keisha Sorobi today, and she was gracious enough to pay for my meal at lunch, and she came to me and she talked to me about how much my broadcast when she was living in Ohio had helped her. The meetings had helped her through because she's a black woman, living in a predominantly white area in Ohio, and she didn't really have anybody that she could really relate to in a political sense, in a social sense, in a cultural sense, right? And I don't want to put her out there, but she kind of started crying a little bit when she was telling me about how much the broadcast meant to her. And I was like, I have a saying, God speaks to us in whispers. And that let me know that these next 4 years are going to be tough. It's going to be tough for me. I'm going to be very selective, and I'm just full transparency. I'm going to be very selective about how I handle things and how I do things because I do have my own life to live. But it made me realize that this space, more than anything, it's not. I've never promoted myself as a news outlet. This is more so a safe space and a space for people to get context and insight on things they may not be clear about or they may have questions about, right? So today, I watched the inauguration. And I know a lot of people like, we're going to do a media blackout and all of this stuff. Look, sis, all that shit now I'm showing up. Now we here. All that shit is irrelevant now. All that shit is irrelevant. I saw posters about we gonna go march and we gonna go protest. The time to do all of that was November 5th. All that shit, especially on today, all that shit is irrelevant now. The damage, the job has been done. The only thing you got left to really work for is midterm elections for Congress. That's the only thing you got. And you better pray to God that you still have that option in 2 years. That's all you got, sis. So all this going out in 10-degree weather with signs and all that, he probably going to have the fucking U.S. military escorting you right the fuck off the grounds, bitch. Save your feet. Save your energy, because there are other fights that need to be handled, and that's going to need people for it. And those fights are going to take place in the courtroom. They're going to take place in healthcare. They're going to take place in technology. That's where we're going to need it. Not you standing outside. I mean, I get that there's strength in numbers and protests. Lord knows January 6th proved that. But in case you didn't notice, half of the country voted for him. Now, Trump did allude to Elon Musk's voting machines and in certain swing states and certain places, which definitely raised the eyebrow for me. But at this point, what the fuck are we going to do? What are you really going to do? You've handed the American public, whether you voted for him or not, the majority of the voting American public who showed up in early voting and on November 5th voted for Donald Trump. Was it a huge majority? No, but it was enough to solidify the win, and you can't really question it that much. We got to start living in reality, y'all. We got to start living in reality. Okay? Got to start living in reality. That inauguration, and I say this, all of the black people who super campaigned for him and all of this stuff, excuse my French, wasn't a lot of niggas up in that inauguration. Let's keep it funky. All that showing your teeth, and he's going to be this and he's going to be that. Yeah, he'll hire you to perform at his press events, but where it matters, your ass was nowhere to be fucking found. You look at the inauguration, it was very telling that a lot of the tech, were sitting in front of the cabinet members, his cabinet selections. So that tell you what it's about to give. Zuckerberg, the CEO of TikTok, Jeff Bezos. Now, one thing about Jeff Bezos that I found interesting, because I'm a person that studies body language, Jeff Bezos, while he ultimately caved, right, and definitely kissed the ring, he looked like he was being held hostage. Like his facial expressions looked like somebody who did the job and did what he quote unquote had to do, but he's not at peace. And that's very telling. And you got to remember, these people are doing what they have to do to protect their business interest. Elon Musk, word on the street, is going to have an office on White House grounds. I said it from the beginning. Elon Musk, no shade. I'm a huge 007 James Bond fan. Elon Musk is a real life James Bond villain. If you've ever seen Moonraker, The World Is Not Enough, Live and Let Die, Goldfinger, like he's a real life GoldenEye. He's a real life Bond villain. Like in real life. It's not like a Bond villain is not a far-fetched concept anymore. We have Elon Musk now. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all good? Am I sounding good? I'm good? Okay. Is the sound going in and out? I'll switch mics. I switched mics. How we sounding? Good. Good. We good? Okay. But that's what we're dealing with now. Right? And it's just very telling. And so you have the tech CEOs sitting up front. Right? You have his cabinet selections. Now, one thing that Trump does is he will put a woman in a position of power. Gotta give him that. They might be batshit crazy or a Stepford wife and delusional, but he will push that female diversity button. But it was just very telling. I got a few things here. Melania's there, and she, everybody's been talking about her fashion. Her fashion to me is a telegraph. It was very demure. It was very fully clothed. It was notice that bitch was buttoned up with a hat. Very conservative. And I think that's a dog whistle to the era and the type of administration that we're going to have. I don't know what's going on YouTube. YouTube folks, I don't know what to tell you. It's there, but Facebook and everybody else on YouTube is saying it's fine. I don't know, guys. I'll re-upload it. But it's very telling. But let's take a look at a few things. A few things that are happening. And I think with YouTube, it's the stream. It's not the audio. It might be the stream on YouTube. So my YouTube folks, I'm sorry, but YouTube acts really crazy sometimes. But I think the thing is, we've got to look at certain things. Now, during this election, and I'm going to really point to the liberal side of the fence. I'm going to lean to progressive and liberals on this, because this was a driving point for a lot of them. For right leaning as well, but liberals really decided to die on the hill and abstain from voting or vote third party or whatever, right? It's not about blaming, but it's just stating facts. You notice how the Israel and Gaza situation was a big point of contention for a lot of voters. The whole election cycle. And now, just before Trump takes office, it's all been wrapped up in a nice little bow. A ceasefire has happened. Hostages are getting released. Everything is all good now. And you were willing to die on the hill for that. The entire election. And it's off. It's fine. Everything's fine now. I don't like to peddle conspiracy theories, but Americans love a distraction. Trans people were a hot topic during this election cycle. And I posted this on my Instagram. I posted that on my Instagram and my Facebook. Trans people make up 1.6% of the US population. 1.6%. And you had a whole country in a fucking uproar over 1.6% of the population. These same parents so worried, and women worried about them taking their rights. 1.6% of the population, if that. And these parents are worried about drag story time and trans people and all that. But American children are 10% more obese than their European counterparts. 20% of American children are obese. And this is coming from a fat bitch. But I wasn't like that when I was a child. Why? Because my parent didn't feed me McDonald's every day and sit me in front of an iPad to shut me up. It's okay for you to kill your children with MSG, saturated fats, and preservatives, but the buck stops when Tyler Perry and Madea show up and want to read you a fucking book. And the reason why I brought up Tyler Perry and Madea, because newsflash, church folks, he's a drag queen. So we have that going on, right? Then I pulled up the White House website because the website has been changed already. President Trump's America First priorities. Make America safe again. And I'm just going to read just a few, not a lot. President Trump will take bold actions to secure our border and protect American communities. This includes Biden's catch and release policies, reinstating Remain in Mexico, building a wall, ending asylum for illegal border crossers, cracking down on criminal sanctuaries, and enhancing vetting and screening of aliens. The president is suspending refugee resettlement after communities were forced to house large and unstable populations of migrants, straining community safety and resources. The armed forces, including the National Guard, will engage in border security, which is national security, and will be deployed to the border to assist existing law enforcement personnel. President Trump will begin the process of designating cartels, including the dangerous Tren de Aragua, as foreign terrorist organizations and use the Alien Enemies Act to remove them. The Department of Justice will seek the death penalty as the appropriate punishment for heinous crimes against humanity, including those who kill law enforcement officers and illegal migrants who maim and murder Americans. If he can do it for one, he can do it for all. This one really touched me. The president will bring back American values. The president will establish male and female as biological reality and protect women from radical gender ideology. American landmarks will be named to appropriately honor our nation's history. So for all of you women who were concerned about your womanhood being taken away, you'll be fine. Also, all these landmarks that were renamed for indigenous people, you can cancel Christmas on that. It's going to be back to being named after the founding fathers and other, problematic leaders in the history of this country. For my LGBTQ people, the party is over, honey. You can no longer afford to not care. Not caring has got you here. World Pride is in DC this year. Good fucking luck. Good luck with that. I hope you have a great time. That's just some of the things that are going to be happening. But here's the thing. This is where you really, and people say it's rich and poor war, not a race war. And that's very true. But race is used by the rich and the elite to separate the poor. Gender identity is used by the rich and elite to separate the poor. You think that there's not gay elite people? It was never about that. Yes, they want you to look a certain kind of way. They want you to be a certain kind of way. But it was never about that. That was used as a tactic to divide and conquer the population. To my people, I hope you've learned, the American public has learned about celebrity worship. Now, I have my favorites too, but I'm not voting based on my favorites. I'm going to tell you something about entertainers. They are there to entertain. One of the rules of entertainment is you got to give the people what they want. And if more than half of the voting population of the country says we want Trump, those same entertainers that not 4 years ago were supporting Joe Biden and smiling in your face and at your gay rights rally and was calling you cis and trans this and, the culture this and showing up at your Black History Month event, bitch, this, they're going to follow their coin and they're going to follow the tea leaves. And right now, the tea leaves say Donald Trump is the ticket. So all of those celebrities that you know and love, from Snoop Dogg to Rick Ross and all of that, they're going to follow the money, and they're going to follow where the crowd is. That's the number one rule of entertainment. There are very few entertainers who are activists. The Nina Simones, the Harry Belafontes, all of the Eartha Kitts, those are the exception, honey. They are not the rule. Y'all upset about Carrie Underwood and all of that? Carrie Underwood is from the Midwest of Texas, one of them places. She's a country artist. Bitch, what did you expect? Y'all can't even be mad at her. Y'all getting upset over, bitch, that's on brand. I can understand you being mad at Snoop and all that, but Snoop, no shade, look at his friend circle. He is elite now. He's best friends with Martha Stewart. He's at the Olympics. He's in Paris riding horses. T-Mobile commercials. Snoop been out of here. He can't relate to your broke ass no more. He haven't been able to relate to your broke ass in a very long time. Rick Ross was a correctional officer who played a gangster in his music. He was a CO. It's on brand. Soulja Boy, I hate to say it, just outright ignorant. That's on brand. And seeing what he did on camera after the backlash from performing for Trump was absolutely abysmal and so ugly. And I say this, and here's the thing to my black women, to my black people, we have to hold each other accountable. There has to be a new level of accountability. See, the thing is, especially with the black female population, y'all like to save people. I have a saying: if people can't feel it, they don't learn. And every time one of your somebody who in some cases y'all know ain't do the right thing, y'all go out and defend him. Oh no, his rights, and he gotta be this and he gotta be that. Y'all there every time to bail him out. But what did they do for you this election? They fell right in line. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of black, well, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some black men really don't hate white supremacy and the patriarchy. They hate that they can't benefit up from it the same way. But their ideology is very much the same and in line. But y'all will run out and stand by your man every time. And what did your man do for you? He called you a bitch. He called you dumb. He called you inept, even though you went through several years of law school, was the first black attorney general in the state of California, HBCU graduate, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and the first woman, period, vice president. He called you unqualified. He called you ditzy. He called you dumb. He called you a bed wench. And you continue to bail him out every time. And what also did he do for you? He told you that you know too much. He told you that you are taking his jobs from him. He told you that, shut up, bitch. This is what those votes said. But you gonna save them every time. And you know, I was talking today, and we have to think about community in a 360 way. We have to start looking at, because it is a class difference. It's a class system. America has successfully voted in its first public oligarchy. Notice I said public. So we have to understand where we are. And sometimes community is not going to look like your same skin tone. With the Latino community, we should have learned a lot from them this election. They are not a monolith. It's a lot of Cubans who feel very white adjacent. There's a lot of Indian people who feel very white adjacent. So we have to understand the difference. Community is a feeling. It is action. It is actual movement. It is not a look. And we as people, and I say that to black people, I say that to white people, I say that to Asian people, Middle Eastern, Latino. Everybody that looks like you is not your community. And black people, we should know that, especially because even in slavery, there were house slaves and there were field slaves. There were black overseers and black people who went and told on your ass and helped hunt you down when you tried to leave. So you have to understand that. You have to understand that. Okay? You have to understand that. So what do we do moving forward? Community. Because that's all you're really going to have. You never know when that person, and here's the thing, you have to be selective about your community. You have to be selective in who you speak to, what you speak about to these people, hold your cards to your chest. Even me, myself, I'm moving differently. Right? So you have to be selective. Move with intention. Strategize on a long term. Stop thinking about this hot topic that's here now or how you feel now. Because thinking like that got you here now. And I'm going to tell you something. I understand not watching the inauguration for your mental health, but thinking that you're doing some virtuous deed by not watching is going to affect the ratings, they don't give a shit. You think they give a shit? Because if you don't watch it, it's 77 million other people who will. So that's cute. It's very much akin to a child having a tantrum because they didn't get a snack after nap. And I know that sounds harsh, but we gotta have a real conversation, y'all. Because that's an empty deed. We gotta do real work now. We gotta get with these young people. We gotta get with these streamers, these people in technology, these social media people, because they do have currency. Because they definitely galvanize the young people for this one. For the Liberal Party to be the forward-thinking party, the way that the Liberal Party works is very antiquated. You know what's so crazy? Is that had I been a right political pundit doing this show, my channel would have been amplified. I would have been everywhere. I would have had access to so many political figures because the right understands. You know what the left told me? You need at least 100,000 followers for us to come on your show. They won't even retweet it. But this is where we are now. Learn from this while you still slightly have a chance to. They say, oh, Emmanuel, you curse too much. DDM, you gotta tone it down. It's too rough around the edges. The Republicans wasn't worried about none of that shit. They like, oh, you got a voice? You got some people? Let's go ahead and amplify that. And the sad part is, the shit I was saying was actually based in fact and research. But because I didn't look the part for the powers that be in the Democratic Party, I wasn't useful to them. So, let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson. Oh, and Biden pardoned his family and the January 6th committee, which I'm not mad about that. I think that was the appropriate thing to do. And he pardoned Dr. Fauci as well. But yeah, those are all of the things. And see, the thing is, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't say any of that because I'm going to tell y'all real talk. I actually reached out to politicians. I reached out to help and galvanize with the left, and they would tell me no. They would look at the channel. They would say either you got to have 100,000 or 1 million followers, or they would say it's good stuff, but if you can tone down the language or if you can do this and all of that. But I'm going to tell you something because I talked to everybody. I had right-wing pundits because I see everybody. I live next to DC. I would run into right-wing pundits who watched this show and said, DDM, they would tell me, you were spot on. I swear. You were spot on. And they would tell me, it's a shame they won't use your channel because you would be good for them. They were actually thankful that my channel was not picked up by the left. I had one Republican aide to a Republican senator who will remain unnamed who said, "You a problem." And he didn't say it in a threatening way, but we was joking. He was like, "Yeah, thank God you where you at." And so this is what it gets you. But we have to stay strong. We have to understand where we are and not where we could have been, because what could have been is not a possibility at this time. We have to move with intention. We have to understand that a lot of these people are not going to be kind to you. They're not going to be nice. And they're not going to be kind to you and they're not going to be nice, not because they, quote unquote, are just rude people, but there's a certain level of guilt that they have. And that guilt will manifest itself into rudeness and anger and cynicism. So you have to deal with that. Um, I did start a Substack where I will be putting out, like a lot of you who follow me on Facebook, you already get my thoughts. But on my Substack is where I will be writing a lot of my more deeper thoughts and opinion pieces, right? I never advertise myself as a news outlet. I don't want that responsibility, and I'm not qualified to be a news outlet. This is not a classroom, it's a study group. But my Substack is dapperdamitis.substack.com. Just look me up, dapperdamitis.substack.com. And that's where you can get kind of insight. I think they have video. I'm still exploring the platform. I haven't posted yet, but that'll be coming. So you can subscribe there to see some of my my thoughts and what I think about certain things, because it takes a lot to get in front of camera and do this. I am already on Blue Sky, for those of you asking in the chat. I'm on Blue Sky, Dapper Damitis on Blue Sky as well. Dapper Damitis on everything. If you want to contribute to the channel and keep things going, you can contribute via Super Chat in YouTube, or you can contribute Cash App or Venmo, Dapper Damitis as well. It is 8:15. Monday Night Raw is on. Y'all know I love wrestling. If you're into wrestling, I contribute to the Black Wrestling Podcast, BRP, as well. I'll be seeing y'all at the Royal Rumble. But I thank y'all for joining me this evening. It's always a great time and an honor. Everybody stay safe. Cheer up. Tomorrow is a new day. And we'll just continue to, see what we can do. On that note, I'm sorry. Y'all have a great evening.